Hey everybody, in today's episode, we're going to talk about what occurred on day 12 of the Karen Reed case. I'd like to say we're getting towards the end, but we're not. Unless they just plan to not put on certain witnesses that they put on in the first trial. This is a retrial of Karen Reed. So I will cover that right after this introduction. Where's my introduction? Hold on, I'll find it. Hold on, here it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rebecca, your host of Corrupting and Crime Daily. And I didn't mean to push your buttons. I was just looking for mute. This is what I'm going to wear around my sister. Anyway, she's going to watch this. She's going to go, what? How you doing? Okay, welcome back to the channel. If you wouldn't mind, could you do me a favor and hit that like button? I know sometimes it's a pain in the butt to find it, but if you could find it and hit it, I would really appreciate it. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Welcome to the community. So let's talk about Karen Reed. Karen Reed is on trial in the state of Massachusetts for second-degree murder of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer. This occurred on January 29th of 2022 after they had been out drinking at C.F. McCarthy's and a place called The Waterfall. Then they decided to take the party. Everybody was going to take all her and his friends were going to take the party to the home of another Boston police officer, Brian Albert, where his son was celebrating his 23rd birthday. I'm not sure. I don't know which birthday. He was celebrating a birthday. So there was already, kids at the house, and now the adults were added into the party. Karen goes to drop off John. I don't know if she had planned to go inside or if he was going to check and make sure they were in the right place and then come back and get her. But anyway, she pulls in front of the house. He gets out of the car. Well, what happens after that? Who knows? Who knows? According to the prosecution, she backed up in the vehicle and hit him and left him in the snow to die. According to the defense, he got out of the car, went into the house. She didn't see him go into the house, but he got out of the car with the intent to go in the house, and she never sees him again. So she thinks he's in there, and he's just kind of forgotten about her. So she leaves. Goes to his house, and she's texting him all night long. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? He's not answering. I did all 47 times. She texts or calls him, attempts to call him that evening. They find his body the next morning in the snow, and he is deceased. Okay. Day 12 of this retrial. She's already been tried once. The jury in the first trial found her not guilty of second-degree murder and attempting to leave the scene of an accident that resulted in death, but were hung on whether or not this was manslaughter. But they didn't tell the judge that they had already decided those first two charges. This is an appellate issue that's going all the way to the Supreme Court, because this trial could very well be double jeopardy. They're trying her again for the same two charges she's already been found not guilty of, except not officially. So the judge declared a mistrial, and here we are again on trial number 2. And I got to tell you, day 12, interesting twist. What the prosecution is doing now. Since the first trial, and it went so disastrously for Michael Proctor, the head or the lead investigator with the state troopers, Massachusetts state troopers, and he later was fired based on a lot of what came out at trial. I don't think this prosecution is going to put him on the stand. Here's what they did instead on day 12. They put on the stand Yuri Bochenik, and I'm probably butchering his last name, and I apologize, Mr. Bochenik, Michael Proctor's supervisor. And here's how he explains his testimony. We're a team. We are a team. We do everything together. And yeah, we have a case officer that's assigned, and it's usually the person that's on call. So who was the person on call that at the time this went down? Michael Proctor. But, we're a team. We do everything together. That's just kind of, yeah, they have the title of, case officer, but we're doing everything together. So in other words, they want the jury to believe it doesn't matter who testifies because they're all doing everything together. Anyway, it's a team effort. So he proceeds to testify, saying that he was with Michael Proctor every step of the way during that investigation. He was there with Michael Proctor. And even at times is answering the questions with, we did this and we did that. Finally, I kept saying objection, objection, objection in my mind. Finally, defense objects. They go sidebar. After that, it was, I did this. Did you see Michael Proctor do that? No, I did not. Okay. We broke up the we into I and Michael Proctor. Finally. Anyway, the reason they work as a team is because, you never know what could happen to one of the other officers. We're all up on the case because what if somebody gets fired and they're not available to testify? Yep. Like in this case, they're no longer a resource for the police department to testify. Mm-hmm. We know. Okay. So he said he received the call that morning that there was a man in the snow. He knew Proctor was on call. Why Proctor didn't receive the call, he said something about his phone number is right next to the on-call person, and they probably hit his number by the mistake. But he calls Proctor, says, Proctor, you go out and let me know when I'm needed. Hi, baby. My kitty wants some attention. What's going on? Hi. Okay. So he meets Michael Proctor at 9:16 a.m. at the Canton Police Department. Now, even though Canton Police Department has recused themselves because of the conflict that was created when they learned that Brian Albert, the homeowner's younger brother, Kevin, or maybe he's an older brother, his brother Kevin, is a detective with the Canton Police Department. And once they found out that John O'Keefe, the victim, was deceased, the case would have automatically been turned over to the state police officer, to the state police agency. This officer, he explained that there's a statute that says any unattended death goes to the state police department for investigation, and they actually report directly to the district attorney's office. I think that's kind of a nice setup. Anyway. So this night he's concerned because this weather, and there's, he's afraid he's not going to have enough manpower. So he was more involved than he usually would have been in this case. The first thing they decided they needed to do was speak to the people that were closest to the victim or were there at the time. And that would have been Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts, and Karen Reed. But I guess I get sidetracked, but they end up going over to the scene, Brian Albert's home, where they speak with Jen and Matt McCabe, and then they speak with Brian Albert and his wife. They're both interviewed. Then they decide they're going to the hospital. They want to interview Karen Reed, but they get there and they find out, she's already been discharged. Remember, she was taken from the scene where they've done CPR on John O'Keefe and they're putting him in an ambulance. She comes back because the first responders are notified that she had said she was going to kill herself. So they ask her to come back because her and Jen had taken off. Jen brings her back. They put her in the hospital for her own protection. She's not there long. They clear her and decide she's no danger to herself. And her dad comes and gets her and they take off. Anyway. So the victim, she's no longer there, but they find out that the victim is now deceased, and they go to observe the victim. He's under the sheet, and so they go in the hospital room, and so he was asked, "What did you observe on the victim?" He said he saw pooling of blood underneath his head. Both of his eyes were swollen. He said the insides of his eyes were discolored. His eyes were discolored. And then he started to give his opinion about why that is. And the judge was like, no, we don't need your opinion. Just what did you observe? Okay. Tiny cuts to his right eye area and his left nostril, cuts and bruises on his right arm, a bruise on the back of his right hand, and abrasions to his right knee. And he was missing a sneaker because one of the things they did while they were at the hospital was collect the clothing. We're going to see the clothing that was collected later on. And that clothing was consistent with what he was wearing in the videos that I'm going to show you at the end of this episode. I'm going to wait till the end of the episode to show you videos from the waterfall and see if McCarthy's, because they're kind of lengthy. So I'm going to save those till the end. Don't go anywhere. You'll get to see them in their entirety. So his when they saw that he was missing a sneaker, and he did mention to the jury, a lot of times, and this is very true, if you're in a motor vehicle accident, pedestrians, it is not uncommon when you're hit by a car that your shoe will be missing, or both of your shoes will come off of your body after you've been hit by the car. We saw that in another case. Stephen Smith out there in South Carolina had to do with the Murdochs and all that stuff. That's how they figured out he had been hit by a vehicle, because he was out of his shoes. You just come out of your shoes when you're hit by a car. So he mentioned that. He saw that the sneaker was missing, but he wanted to make sure that it hadn't been left in the ambulance. So he calls the first responders and said, is there a sneaker in the ambulance? There was no sneaker in the ambulance. So anyway, the next thing that we decided to do was go interview Karen Reed at her parents' house. So he and Michael Proctor took what usually would have been a 35-minute drive to Denton. It ended up taking them like an hour and 45 minutes because it's a blizzard. But they got to get out there. They got to get her statement, and they got her car and her cell phone. So there was a reason to get out there because, clock's ticking. They want to preserve that evidence. So they get out there, they talk to Karen, and they ask her, how did he get these injuries? She did not know, but she said he did bump his head a couple of days ago, and he asked me about it. That's really all she had to say about that. She didn't tell them a lot. She didn't go into a lot of detail with them. So then they asked if they told her they were going to seize her cell phone and her vehicle. They did not have a warrant. They were seeking a warrant to search those items, but they seized them because they didn't want any destruction of material on the cell phone or evidence that might be in the vehicle. So at some point later on, they show the jury a video of the vehicle being towed away, and they point out, yes, you can see the broken taillight on the right passenger side in the rear. Because the taillights have like this red casing to them, and on the right side you can see part of that red casing is missing, the red plastic. Okay, so the next thing he was saying, we didn't touch the vehicle. That's when the objection started about the we. Finally. Because how do you know Proctor didn't touch that vehicle? What they wanted to do when they got the vehicle was what they did was take the vehicle to the Canton Police Department. Now, even though Canton's been recused because Kevin Albert is the detective there, they're using the Canton Police Department because I guess that was closer to where they needed to be, and they needed to sit in one of the conference rooms that was made available to them so they can interview the Canton police, to find out what was done. That's when the red Solo cups and the other stuff that was turned over to them. The red Solo cups, what else was it? The broken cocktail glass and John's cell phone were turned over to the state police. Then the idea was once they got a warrant, they would be able to go ahead and photograph the vehicle, process it for fingerprints and DNA, and have a digital digital forensic person go into the vehicle and take out the entertainment system, because if you process that, sometimes you can get some valuable information from the entertainment system. And then he was asked, well, did you see Detective Proctor touch the vehicle? He says, I did not see him touch the vehicle. That doesn't mean he didn't touch the vehicle, but he didn't see him touch the vehicle. Anyway, so then he showed the jury the clothing that he obtained at the hospital that John was wearing when he was picked up from in front of 34 Fairview earlier that morning. The first is a picture of, first he was asked to show we're talking about stuff that he got from the hospital. He pulls out the sneaker that was found at 34 Fairview just to confuse everybody, because I'm thinking, wait a minute, we already saw that. It's the left sneaker. We've seen that sneaker already. And he says, well, where's that from? Well, that was the one for Fairview. Well, do you have the one you got from the hospital? Oh, yeah, I got that one here too. So he shows that one. That was the right sneaker. So now we have the matching black Nike sneakers. And now the jury has seen it. So after the shoes are shown, then they showed the shirt that he had on. They put it between some plexiglass. They laid it flat and put it between plexiglass so they could just, instead of holding it up, they just showed that plexiglass to the jury, front and back. And the same thing with the sweatshirt. That's all he had on. A blizzard is coming and you put on a t-shirt and a light sweatshirt. Not a heavy one like I'm wearing. And the only reason I'm wearing a heavy sweatshirt today is because this was a gift from a subscriber. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate the clothing. It's a little warm, but we're going to put this away for when winter comes again, because it will come again. Anyway, then they figured out that they were missing an item. The hat. Where's the hat? So they go back to look for the hat, and that was on February 3rd. So now they're excavating an area, and they find the hat under 1.5 feet of snow. Now, what wasn't clear to me is, where did you find this hat? Where was the hat? Like, you didn't show me they showed us pictures of the hat in the snow, and then he showed it to the jury, but I did not hear, maybe the defense will clarify this on cross-examination. Then on February 4th, they found a large piece of taillight. Now, what they did was, knowing that this had been a blizzard and that as the snow is dissipating, evaporating, they're finding more and more evidence. So he tells his guys, just go by there every day and see if you can find anything. And sometimes they would find stuff and not call the crime scene people to process the evidence. They would just put it in a bag. Photograph it, let's put it in a bag, let's go. So on February 4th, they find a larger piece of the taillight, and he did manage to say that was 7 foot from the roadway. Then on February 10th, they find more evidence. 6 pieces of plastic, he says about $50 size, and he shows some of the pieces, representative pieces, some clear, some red. And then he describes the area where those were found. He said it was the left side of the lawn near the flagpole. Then one of the other things he did was retrieve the video from several different places, from the Waterfall Bar, from C.F. McCarthy's. He retrieved the ring camera footage from John O'Keefe's residence, the victim's residence. And my watch is talking to me. He received dash cam video and he received body cam video. So he had a chance to review all of that. So he was asked about a text chain that he had been put onto. First, he said, do you guys carry your personal phones and your duty phones? Yes, we have 2 different phones on us. And on his personal phone, he was put on a text chain by Michael Proctor. Well, I don't know if Michael Proctor put him on the text chain. I don't know how he got on the text chain, but it's a text chain where Michael Proctor is talking to other people. And he said he was he had picked up an off-duty job, probably security or something, or traffic. It was traffic, and he, in the middle of this job, in the middle of traffic, he gets a notification that there's a text on this text chain, and he glances at his Apple Watch, and he sees the text, and he acknowledges it with a thumbs up. Because when you look at your Apple Watch, when you look at a text on your Apple Watch, there's a couple of things you can do, like, because you can't really reply. You're out in the middle of traffic or wherever it is you are. Obviously, your phone's not available. But one of the things you can do is just press the thumbs up button, and it'll show that you've acknowledged seeing that text message. That was his involvement in that text message. But then he was asked to read the text message. Here that is.
So in the beginning, it says, "Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone."
Is that your comment?
No, it is not.
Okay, next.
It appears to be the same person because of the way that the extraction happens, and it says no nudes so far. Again, I believe it's the same person because all of these identified as sent. It says, "I hate that man. I truly hate him."
Do you have any belief that's Michael Proctor who's writing these?
Yes, I believe that is.
Next, please.
There's a blank page, and that's the end.
Now, I can't figure out, he does say, none of that was him. He believes it was Michael Proctor texting. I don't know who they're talking about. Who are they talking about? I have no idea. I didn't watch the first trial, so I don't know. Are they talking about the defense attorney? I'm not really sure. In any case, he was disciplined as a result of his supervision of Michael Proctor. Failure to supervise Michael Proctor. Remember, I told you Michael was fired. And there was a lot more in those text chains that he did not read. I don't know if the defense is going to get into it on cross. We'll see. I hope they do. I hope they're astute enough to figure out what's going on here. What's going on here is the prosecution is trying to shove this guy down our throats, hoping we'll be satisfied with this and they don't have to call Michael Proctor. And if they never call Michael Proctor, how do we get the rest of those text messages in? This is probably going to be the defense's only chance to get the entire amount of those text messages in. So I'm sure they're probably going to do it on cross. Let's get all those text messages read to the jury, shall we? Because there's some derogatory stuff there about the defendant. And there's some stuff about the Brian Albert home. Okay, so you're going to be in suspense until then, right? Okay, so then he goes through several videos that came from the Ring camera at John O'Keefe's house that start on the morning of the 28th and go through the 29th after John O'Keefe has been found. So on John O'Keefe's Ring camera, you see the morning of the 28th, the defendant in her Lexus backing up, and she passes his vehicle. Now, she does not come into contact with his vehicle with her right rear passenger taillight. So I don't know if that's when she's claiming she hit it, but you can see in this video, she did not hit it at that time. All right, so then after this video is shown of her not hitting his vehicle, he was asked, now you're aware that her cell phone connected at the house of John O'Keefe at 12:36 and 39 seconds. And he goes, yes, I'm aware of that. He says, do you have footage of that, of her arriving at home at that time? And he says, yes, but they don't show it. I never saw the footage. Where's the footage? Anyway, they don't show it. But then the next video that they show is at 5:07 when she's leaving to go over to Jen McCabe's. She very well could have hit his vehicle in this, it's the blizzard is going now, full force. She could have hit his vehicle in this video. I can't tell whether she did or she didn't. But then they slow it down and they do still shots for the jury where you see that her taillight is broken.
Was there any ring video on the 2022?
Yes, I did.
Could we see video 153, please?
As she's pulling out, after she's already maybe backed into his vehicle because she can't really tell, and she pulls away, you can see that her taillight is broken. But here's the thing: if that's when the taillight broke, how did those pieces get over to 34 Fairview? And did they look for pieces at John O'Keefe's house? Okay, then there's another video at 5:46 a.m. where the girls, Karen drives her vehicle, they left Jen McCabe's house. So Karen and Jen come in her vehicle. They drive in. Then Carrie Roberts comes in behind them. They search the house for John O'Keefe. They don't find him. Then all three of them leave in Carrie Roberts' vehicle to go over to 34 to look for John. They end up at 34 Fairview where they find his body on the front lawn.
Review that video from 5:07:58?
Yes.
Did you later review video of 5:46:29?
Yes.
Could we play number 154, please? Could you stop that, please? Do you recognize what's in that video?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is top left corner is Mr. John O'Keefe's vehicle. Middle left side of the screen is a black Lexus SUV registered to Karen Reed with the license plate based on that registration. And then on the right side, I believe that's Miss Carrie Roberts' vehicle.
Did you see the people enter the house?
Yes.
Did you look for further video after the people arrived at 5:46:29?
Yes.
Was there any video of those three people leaving?
No, there was not.
But you see that video. This is when Carrie and Jen say, oh, she showed us the taillight. She didn't show them the taillight on that video. And then they both, during their testimony, said, well, then it must have been on the way out. But guess what? No video of Karen Reed showing them anything on the way out. No video of them leaving the home that day. Where's that video? We don't know. We haven't seen it. So then this officer put together this presentation of C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall. And I'm going to show you that in its entirety at this point. And follow along closely because she's given a number of drinks. And what he does is he points out, he's separated video clips. He points out each time she's handed a drink. So take a look at that. But he does claim that within a 35-minute period after she arrives at 9:03 a.m. at C.F. McCarthy's, for the next 35 more minutes, she gets 4 drinks. Then they leave at 10:53 p.m. She gets 3 more drinks before she leaves. So a total of 7 drinks in about a 2-hour period of time at C.F. McCarthy's. Then they go over to the waterfall. The waterfall video footage is terrible. You'll be able to see that. I don't think that you can actually distinguish when she's getting her drinks there. But take a look at that footage and then let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. And then what I'm doing, that is the direct examination of this officer. That's where it ends. the cross-examination started, but it did not finish. It's continuing this morning. So I'm going to cover that in its entirety for you in a video that you'll see either this weekend or Monday. So have a great weekend. Watch this video. Don't go anywhere. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.
So did you have an opportunity to review video from C.F. McCarthy's on the evening of January 28th, 2022?
Yes, I did.
Did you have an opportunity to review videos from the Waterfall Bar on January 28th, 2002?
Yes, I did.
Did I say January 29th, 2022?
Yes.
Did you review all the entire relevant time periods?
Yes, I did.
When you reviewed those videos, were there a number of different things you were looking for?
Yes, there was.
Can you share with the jury what you were looking for?
We were looking for consistency in statements that were already received through interviews. We were looking for description of clothing individuals were wearing at the bars, at those locations. We were looking for any evidence of aggressive behavior, any sort of information we could learn to help us with the investigation. We're also looking to see and document how much alcohol consumption was on the recordings.
When you went through the videos, did you happen to have an opportunity to copy and clip portions of relevant time frames regarding alcohol ingestion?
Yes.
Did you put all of those videos together in a sequence to show the course of the night, times when you could identify alcohol ingestion?
Yes, I did.
Did you put that into a video format for a presentation?
Yes, we did.
I think this presentation may take a few minutes.
All right, lawyers, the counsel side up for just a second, please. Jurors, feel free to stand.
It's 108A through 108B.
Thank you. Your Honor, could I proceed with the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Trooper, I may stop you with a couple points.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain to us what this is?
Yes, from left to right, it is chronological events that took place at C.F. McCarthy's. This is surveillance video from one of their cameras within the bar. It should be noted that the video is time-stamped 12 minutes behind actual time. So when it says 9:03, when it is 9:03, the frame will be timestamped 2051, which is 8:51. So that's the time discrepancy, which is consistent throughout the surveillance footage.
So the times that are displayed in those arrows, is that the accurate time?
The arrows are the accurate time, and the time stamped 12 minutes behind actual time.
In these videos, are you identifying drinks that were received and have been consumed by the defendant?
Yes. So the first video, as it is labeled, it's the defendant arriving. The next one will be the ordering of the drink and receiving the actual cocktail.
Okay, let's start with the first video at 9:03, please. Can you stop it there? Do you recognize who's in that video?
Yes.
From left to right of people that you recognize and identify the clothing they might be wearing?
From left to right, it'll be Mr. John O'Keefe wearing the gray sweatshirt that was displayed earlier, and then the defendant, who he is trying to embrace with one arm there. I do not know who the other individuals are in the shot.
Okay, thank you. If you could continue, please. If we could proceed to 9:10. What did that show, sir?
It showed the defendant receiving her first tall vase, cylindrical style cocktail glass with a lime in it and a straw to go along with it.
9:27, please. And what was depicted in that video that you saw?
In that video, we see the defendant get handed her second cylindrical tall style cocktail glass while she finished the first one and then picked up the second one.
When you've made a relevant observation in the video, please interject and stop so you can point out for us what you've seen.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. Next, please, 932.
Here the defendant is handed a shot.
Stop, please. Okay.
Right there.
I think we'll just have to play it and you'll have to speak as you're watching it. It doesn't look like it can be stopped. Sorry, Ms. Gelman.
She's handed a shot by the bartender on the left side of the screen. She picks it up and puts it into her second cocktail glass, making it a third beverage of alcohol content that she's consuming. So right there, we observed Mr. O'Keefe retrieve his phone from his rear left jean pocket, and he put it back. Now the defendant picks up her second cocktail glass with the added shot in it and consumes it.
Could we proceed to the next video, please? This is now 9:45 p.m.
Yes, sir. So the bartender hands over another cocktail glass and some beers. The shot goes into the empty one after it's poured into the new cocktail glass. So that's drink number 4.
Does it also depict Mr. O'Keefe putting his cell phone in his back pocket again?
Yes.
By 9:45, how many drinks have been served to the defendant?
4 drinks.
4 drinks between 9:10 and 9:45.
That's correct. In 35 minutes, 4 drinks.
Could we proceed to the next screen, please? 10:09 p.m.
Here the defendant speaks with the bartender and gestures that she wants a shot.
Objection.
The objection is sustained. I'll strike that.
Mr. O'Keefe on his cell phone again?
Yes, he is. And he puts it in his back pocket. The defendant is showing Mr. O'Keefe the middle finger, and then puts the beverages on the bar.
Should I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
What is the drink count at that point?
At that point, it's 4 drinks.
Could we have the next?
Mr. O'Keefe brings over a couple of beverages. The defendant retrieves the cocktail glass. A shot glass is picked up by one of the patrons, and the defendant retrieves it from him and places it back on the bar. The defendant is consuming the beverage in her hand, places it on the bar. And then
What time are we at now?
That was 10:34, so we're moving 10:37.
What is the drink count at 10:34?
That is 5 drinks at that point.
Can we play 10:37, please?
The bartender makes 4 shots, top left corner. She's seen preparing the 4 shot glasses. 2 are on the bar top now. She retrieves 2 more.
$10.41, please.
Here, the 4 shot glasses are redistributed. Pours it into her drink. She does not consume it from the shot glass.
Okay, just, I'll strike that.
The next video, please.
Now, as Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant are getting ready to leave, the defendant is holding the drink in her left hand, continues to sip on it. And the 2 walk out of the bar without the beverage in their hand being deposited anyway.
At 10:53, how many drinks have been served to the defendant at this point?
7.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Move to strike.
I'll strike that.
Next slide. And this
So
is,
I'm going to actually see Constance Evans on this.
Ms. Gilman, if you could take us to 10:54. And before we begin, Trooper Kennick, is this a different location than all the video we've seen before?
Yes, this is the Waterfall Bar Grill surveillance footage from inside the lounge area. And for reference purposes, this is at this location, the timestamp is accurate to the real time.
Ms. Gilman, could you begin at 10:54, please?
Here we see the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe walk into the bar and see their friends engage in hugs and greetings.
We'll let the Waterfall Bar videos play.
I'm sorry, sir?
We'll let the Waterfall video bars play. We'll just let them play.
Okay.
$11.46, please. $12.06, please. $12.07. $12.10, please. Did you see the last person walk out the door in that video clip?
Yes, I did.
Did you identify who that is?
Yes, it's Mr. John O'Keefe. He's wearing the two-tone gray sweatshirt with the sleeves pulled up towards the elbows.
Is that the same clothing that you found at Good Samaritan Hospital when you went to visit?
Yes, it is.
The baseball hat, did you have an opportunity to look at the hat he was wearing?
Yes, I did.
Is that consistent with the hat that you and the group found on February 3rd, 2010?
Yes, it is.
The pants?
Yes, it is.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 108C. This is already introduced to evidence. When you studied that photo, do you notice anything in Mr. O'Keefe's hand?
Yes, in his right hand, he's holding a short style cocktail glass with black drinking straw protruding from it as it is backdrop on the snow on the hood of the car that's parked outside.
Could we show 108C, please? Ms. Gilman, could you focus the best you can on the drink? Is that the photo you looked at?
Yes, it is.
Can you point out or explain where you see the drinking straw?
Absolutely. Right there, to the right of the red indicator, you can see the straw protruding out of the glass. Mr. O'Keefe is holding in his right hand.
Thank you. You can take that down, Ms. Gilman.
I'm going to allow it.
You can take that down, Ms. Gilman. Thank you. One last matter, Trooper Lieutenant. In 2024, did you obtain ring video for that time period in 2024 from Mr. O'Keefe's home?
Yes, I did.
Did you provide that ring video to a person who works for a company by the name of Aperture?
Yes, we did.
And just very basically, do you know what Aperture does?
Yes, I do.
What do they do?
They assist in scientific fashion to reconstruct, test, and evaluate, analyze vehicle-involved crashes and deaths.
Is Aperture part of the Mass State Police team?
They are not.
Are they a private company?
Yes, they are.
May I approach?
Yes.
Handing in the item to you, you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's a ring video from 2024.
So what location?
Meadows Ave.
I move to evidence. No objection.
Thank you.
I have no further questions.
Okay.
Exhibit 139.
Thank you.